What is going on, YouTube? Just helping you out here. And for today's video, I'm going to be building the field elements contained in Bag 5 for the FLL RePLAY 2020-2021 game. In these bags, we have the boccia frame, the boccia aim, and the boccia share. You will be needing these 3 bags that are labeled number 5, and you will be needing 3 of the extra piece bags. The one with the 15 black beams, the one with the extra beam pieces, and the one that contains mostly those blue wheels. So first up, you will be needing one of these size 16 axles and 2 of these green elbows. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick those elbows on either end of the axle. But what you want to make sure is that these holes are in the same orientation and these 2 elbows are pointed in these directions. And now you will be needing 2 size 12 axles, and you are going to attach those to the other ends of the elbows. So just like that. And now you will need 2 more of these green elbows, and you are going to attach those to the other sides of the axles you just put in. So just like that. Again, make sure all 4 of these holes are faced in the same direction, and make sure these 2 elbows are both pointed this way. And now you will be needing 2 more size 12 axles, and you are again going to put those in the leftover ends of the elbows. One right there, and one right there, so it looks like this. So now you will be needing 4 of these with axle and beam holes, 4 size 5 beams, and 4 long blue pins. And what you are going to do is take one of those size 5 beams and stick 2 long blue pins in it, short side in, and you're going to put one in the second hole here. You're going to leave a 1 hole gap, and you're going to put another one. So you should have a 1 hole gap on either sides of the pins. And then you are going to take another size 5 beam and put that over the long end of these blue pins. So it looks like that, and then you are going to take 2 of those pieces that have axle and beam holes, and you're going to put those on top of that. So you should have a piece that looks like this, and you are going to need to make 2 of those. So I'm going to do that really quick. So now I have 2 of those pieces that are identical, and now what you need to do is you need to take one of those and you need to stick this axle hole into one of these axles on the side, and you're going to push it all the way through until the axle here is flush with the rest of this gray piece. And you also want to make sure that this faces inward. So it looks like that, and you're going to do the same thing with the other one. So it should look just like this when you are done, and this is the completed boccia frame. So now I'm going to set this aside. And now we are going to get started on the boccia aim. And now you will be needing one of these rectangle beam pieces and 4 black friction pins. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick them into the long edge of this rectangle on the 2 outside holes. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. So it looks something like this. And now you will be needing 2 size 7 blue beams, and you are going to stick those on the pins that you just put in, making sure that they are centered so that the edges of these beams line up with the edge of this rectangle. And it should look like this. And now you will be needing 4 long blue pins, and what you are going to do is you are going to stick those in the end holes on either side of the short edge of the rectangle, except what you're going to do is you're going to put them in long ways, but only put the long side in halfway. So you should have it look just like this for now. So now you'll be needing this black gear and this gray bottom piece, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this gray bottom piece and you're going to set this inside the rectangle that you already made, so just like that, and then you're going to push these blue pins in all the way, just like that, so it locks in that bottom piece, and then you can take this gray black gear and just set that right on top like that. And now you will be needing 2 blue size 7 beams, and you're going to center those on the rest of these blue pins on either side. So just like that, and just like that. So it should look like this when you have completed that step. And now you can set this piece aside for now. And now you will be needing another one of these black rectangle beams, a black friction pin, and a long blue pin. And what you were going to do is you were going to insert both pins on the same long edge. You were going to put the black pin in this topmost hole right here, and then you were going to stick the short end of the blue pin in this bottom hole right here. So it should look just like this. And now you will be needing a green size 7 beam, and you are going to attach that to the pins that you just put in. Just like that, so that the ends of this beam are flush with the short edges of the rectangle. And now you will be needing 3 black friction pins, and one of them is going to go in the hole just above the blue pin. So you're going to put one right there, and then you're going to put the other 2 on the other long edge of this black rectangle in the 2 bottom holes. So right here and right here. Just like that. And now you are going to take a size 7 green beam, and you are going to take this end hole and put it on this pin facing that way. So just like this. And now you will be needing 2 more black friction pins, and you are going to put them on the bottom short edge of this rectangle in the 2 end holes. So one right there, and one right there. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing one of these H's, and you are going to take that and stick it on these 2 black pins right here. Just like that. And now you will need 2 H's, one of these green pieces with beam and axle holes, a size 3 axle, a size 3 beam, and 2 of these beam pieces with beam holes and axle holes. And what you are going to do is you're going to take that size 3 yellow beam and you're going to stick an H into it, just like that. And then you're going to stick the other H on the pins that are sticking out here. So just like that. Then you're going to take one of these pieces and you're going to stick these 2 pins in the corner hole and the one next to the axle hole. So just like that. And then you were going to slide the axle into that axle hole right there until it is flush with the other side of this black piece. And then you were going to slide this green piece onto that axle, just like that. And then you were going to cap it off with this other black piece. So it should look just like this. And now you were going to take that other piece you had built and you're going to stick these 2 holes in this green piece into these 2 pins over here. So it should look just like this. So now you are going to take 2 pink size 11 beams and you're going to attach them to either side of these pins right here. So you're going to take the second hole on this beam and put it into this pin right here. So just like that, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like that, and it should look like this. And now you are going to grab this piece that I told you to set aside earlier. And now you should be able to take this piece with the yellow beam and set it right in this hole right here. So just like that. And now you will be needing 2 of these pieces that have axle and beam holes and 2 size 7 yellow axles. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one of those pieces with beam and axle holes and you're going to stick one of the axles in one of those axle holes so that the axle is flush with the other side of that piece. And then you're going to stick the other axle in the other hole and do the same thing. Just make sure it's flush with the other side of this piece. And then you're going to take this other yellow piece and put it over those axles and then slide it all the way down to the other piece. And so that should look something like this. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece and you're going to slide these 2 axles from behind through these 2 holes right here. So just like that. And now you are going to take 2 more of these pieces and you're going to cap off the other side of these axles. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to take two of these blue pieces that are part axle and part pin, and you are going to stick them in the two axle holes on these black pieces right here. Just make sure when you put those in, you put them in such a way that the pin part of these pieces are both sticking out like that. And it should look just like this. And now you can set this piece aside. So now you will need one of these black beam pieces, two black friction pins, and one size 5 axle. And what you are going to do is you are going to stick the two friction pins in this hole and this hole. So just like that. And then you're going to stick the axle in this axle hole down here, such that the other side is flush with the rest of this piece. So it should look something like this. And now you will need two more black friction pins, and you are going to stick those on the other side of this beam piece, so on this side, and you're going to stick it into these two holes right here. So from a top view it should look like that. And now you are going to take a size 15 beam, and you are going to attach this second hole to this pin right here, just like that. Now you will be needing two long blue pins and two long tan pins, and you are going to insert all of them short side in. You are going to put one blue one at the very end right here. You're going to put one of the tan ones at the other end right here. You're going to leave a 2-hole gap and put in another tan pin, and then you are going to put another blue pin right next to that one. So it should look like this. And now you are going to take a size 11 gray beam, and you're going to put it over the two blue pins. So just like that. And now we can set this piece aside. So now you'll be needing one of these yellow pieces with axle and beam holes, one of these white axle pieces, and a size 4 red axle. And you are going to take that white piece and just put it on the end of that axle, just like that. And then you are going to slide one of the axle holes on this yellow piece onto the red axle until it touches the white piece. So just like that. And then you are going to take one of these black beam pieces, and you are going to take the end axle hole and put it on this red axle, just like this, so that the yellow piece and the black piece are pointed in the same direction. And now you will take another one of these yellow pieces and put the axle hole on the red axle, again making sure it's pointed in the same direction as the rest of the pieces. So it should look just like this. And now you will be needing one of these white pieces and two size 3 axles, and you are going to put the white axle piece on the leftover end of this red axle, and then you are going to stick each one of those axles in the ends of that white piece. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to take two of these spherical green pieces, and you are going to cap off the ends of these axles. Just like that. And now you will need one of these black pieces that has one axle hole, one beam hole, and one of these size 4 red axles. And you are going to insert the red axle into the axle hole of this black piece so that it is flush with the other side of that piece. And now you are going to insert this red axle into this axle hole of the yellow piece, just like this, so that this black piece is pointed up. And it should look like this. And now you will take another one of these black pieces and cap off the other end of the red axle, so just right here. Just make sure that both of these black pieces are both pointed upwards like that. So now you'll be needing one small red axle, two of those tan pieces with part axle and part pin, and two 90-degree elbows. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that red axle and you're going to stick it in one end of one of the 90-degree elbows. And then you are going to put the other elbow on that red axle. Just make sure that both of the other ends of the elbows are pointed in the same direction. And then you are going to put the axle part of these tan pieces in the other ends of those elbows, so it looks something like that. And now you are going to take this piece you already made, and you're going to insert those tan pins into these two black pieces right here. Just like that. And now you can grab this piece that I told you to set aside earlier. And now what you are going to do is you are going to insert this tan pin right here into this hole right here. So just like this. So it should look something like this. And now you are going to take a black size 15 beam and you are going to put it across all four of these pins. So it should look like this. And now you are going to take two black friction pins and insert them in the following holes. You are going to put one in the hole right next to this blue pin, so one right there, and then you are going to leave a 4-hole gap and insert another one. So there should be a 4-hole gap here and a 3-hole gap here. And now you are going to pick up this piece that I told you to set aside earlier. And now what you are going to do is you are going to insert this gray axle into this hole right here, just like this. And then you are going to snap the blue pin in just like that. And now it should look something like this. And now you will be needing one of these black beam pieces, and you are going to attach it just like this on top like that, where this axle hole right here will go into this gray axle and the rest of the pins should line up. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to take two black friction pins and insert them in the following holes. One right next to this black pin that's already in here, and then one right here. So you're going to insert this one, you're going to leave a 1-hole gap, and you're going to insert this one. So it should look just like that. Now you will be needing two size 12 axles, two of these white axle pieces, and two of these pieces that have a size 3 beam, and an axle piece on top. And what you are going to do is you're going to insert the axle into one of these white pieces, and then you're going to slide one of these 3 beam pieces down that axle until it's touching the white piece. And you need to make 2 of those. So those should look just like this. And now you are going to attach both of those onto these black pins right here, such that the axles are facing upwards. So it should look just like this. This is now the completed boccia aim, so I'm going to set this aside. So now we can get started on the boccia share. So first up, you'll be needing one of these H's and one of these black plates, and you're going to start by inserting that H into the side of the plate like this. Just make sure that this plate has the indentation facing upward. And now you'll be needing another H and 2 more plates, and what you're going to do is you're going to attach one plate to the H you already put in, you're going to attach another H to the other end, and you're going to attach the other plate on the other end of that H. So you should have something like this. Just make sure that all of these plates are in the same orientation, so if you look here, all of the faces that you see have the indent. So now you'll be needing 2 size 5 beams, 2 of these size 2 beams that have an axle hole and a beam hole, 2 black friction pins, 2 of those blue pieces with part axle and part pin, and 2 of those L's. So what you need to do is you need to take one of the black friction pins and stick it in the hole of this 2 beam, and then you're going to take the axle part of a blue piece and stick it in the axle hole of that blue beam. So just like that. And then you're going to insert this piece into a size 5 beam on the 2 end holes. Just make sure the blue pin goes on the last hole on the beam, just like this. And then you're going to take that L and you're going to put it in these 2 holes right here. Just make sure that when you do that, these 2 pins are facing away from this blue piece. So it should look just like this, and you need to make 2 of these. So I'm going to do that really quick. So there you go, now I have 2 identical pieces. And now what you are going to do is you are going to put them on the 2 end plates of this piece you already made. The first one I'm going to put into these 2 holes right here. So just like that, making sure that this gray 5 beam is facing away from the rest of the part. So I'm going to put this piece in on these 2 holes right here. such that this 5 beam is facing away from the rest of the part, and it should look just like this. And now you will be needing 4 black friction pins and 2 long blue pins. I'm going to start off with the black friction pins. You are going to need to insert those in the 2 end plates on the top holes right here. So one right here, one right here, and then on the other plate, one right here, and one right here. So it should be in those 4 holes, and then you are going to take the short side of the blue pin and insert it in the middle plate on the top 2 holes. So it should look just like this. And now you will need 2 black size 15 beams, and you are going to attach these such that the second hole at one end attaches to this black pin, and the second hole on the other end attaches to this blue pin, and you're going to do that on both sides. So it should look like this on either side, and it should look like this overall. And now you will be needing 4 black friction pins, and you are going to put them in the following holes. One will go in 3 holes from the end, so 1, 2, 3, right there. And then you are going to leave a 5-hole gap, and then stick in another one. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side, 3rd from the end, then a 5-hole gap, and another one. So it should look like this on either side, and it should look like this overall. And now you can set this piece aside. And now you will be needing 4 long blue pins and 1 of these plates from the extra piece bag. And you are going to insert all of these pins short side in, and you're going to put them in the following holes. One at the very end, and then you are going to leave a 1-hole gap and insert another one. And then you're going to insert one right next to that, and then you're going to put one at the very end. So it should look like this. And now you will be needing 1 size 11 beam and 1 size 5 beam. And you are going to put the size 5 beam on these bottom 2 pins here, just like this, so that the edge of the beam aligns with the edge of this plate. And then you are going to attach the pink beam right next to that one on the other 2 pins. Just like that. And now you'll be needing another one of these black plates, and you are going to insert these 4 blue pins into the side of this plate, just like this. Just make sure that these 2 plates are in the same orientation, so this is the indented side on both plates, whereas this side is the 2 flat faces. And now you will be needing 2 black friction pins and 1 long blue pin. And what you are going to do is you are going to insert that blue pin long ways into the end hole of this beam, so that way it goes through to the other side, like that. And then you are going to take the 2 black friction pins and insert them on the bottom holes of these plates. One right here and one right here, so that there is 1 hole left over at the middle on either side. And it should look just like this. And now you are going to take a size 5 beam, and you're going to put it on those black pins that you just put in. Just like that. And now you will need 2 long blue pins and 2 black friction pins, and you are going to insert the blue pins short side in the bottom holes of the sides of these plates. So right here, and right here. And then you're going to take the black friction pins and insert them on those sides as well, but in the top hole. So right here and right here. So it should look something like this. And now you are going to take 2 pink size 11 beams, and you are going to attach them to the sides of those plates where you just put the pins. And you're going to put them on in such a way that the ends of the beam align with the edge of these plates. Just like that. And now you will need 2 black friction pins, and you're going to insert them in the bottom holes of those pink beams. And now you'll be needing 2 of these black plates, and you are going to insert them on the 2 pins on either side of these pink beams, just like this. Again, when you insert those, just make sure that the indented side of the plates are all facing up. And now you can grab this piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and we are going to attach the piece you just made. And the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to insert it into all of these pins right here so that the edges of both parts line up, and you want to make sure that the indented side of these 4 plates is facing in the same direction as these pieces on the end. So you should be attaching it just like this, and once you get that snapped in, it should look just like this. And now you can set this entire piece aside. So now you will be needing one of these size 7 yellow axles, one of these long blue pins, and one of these beams that has a beam hole and an axle hole. And you are going to take that blue piece and you are going to slide it onto the axle. And then you are going to stick the short side of the blue pin and stick it in this hole. Just like this. And now you will be needing 2 of these thin size 6 beams and one of those blue pieces with a beam hole and an axle hole. And what you are going to do now is you are going to slide the end hole of these 2 beams on the end of this axle and attach the second hole to this blue pin right here. So just like this. And then you are going to take this other blue piece and you're going to do the same thing. Slide the axle hole onto this axle and then connect the beam hole to that pin. Just like that. And now you can see that the axle on either ends of this are uneven, so what you need to do is even those out. And so now I have done that so that approximately the same amount of axle is showing on either side of those blue pieces. And now you will be needing 2 long blue pins, and you are going to insert them into the 2 end holes on this gray piece right here. And make sure they go all the way through so that an even amount of pin is showing on either side of that gray piece. Just like that. And now you will be needing one of these black plates, and you are going to take the 2 end holes right here and attach it to 2 of these pins right here. Just like this, and make sure the flat side of this plate is pointed upwards. And now you will be needing 2 long blue pins, and you are going to insert them short side in into the black plate right here. You're going to put one in this hole and one in this hole. And that should leave you with a 1 hole gap on either side of those pins. And it should look just like this. And now you will be needing one of these size 3 beams with an axle piece on top, and what you are going to do is attach it to these 2 long blue pins right here, just like this, such that the axle piece that's on top is faced upwards. And it should look something like this. And now you are going to grab this big piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and you are going to insert this blue pin into this middle leftover hole on the black plate of this piece, just like this. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to take one of these black plates and attach it to those pins sticking out right here so that it aligns with this black plate right here. So just like that, and make sure that both of these plates are in the same orientation, so in this case both flat sides are faced upwards. And now you will be needing 2 small red axles, 2 of those blue pieces with part pin and part axle, 2 of these pieces with part axle and a beam hole, 2 of these axle pieces, and 2 elbows. And now what you need to do is take one of these pieces with part axle and a beam hole, and you're going to stick it in one end of the elbow. Just make sure that the holes line up, and then you are going to stick a red axle in the other end of the elbow. And now you're going to take one of these other axle pieces and you're going to stick it on that red axle sticking out. And then finally you're going to take the axle part of one of these blue pieces and put it into this end piece right here. So it should look like this, and you need to make 2 of these. So you should have 2 identical pieces that look like this. And now what you are going to do is you are going to attach the blue part of these pins into the second hole on these black plates right here. And when you do that, you want to make sure the elbow part of this piece aligns with this black plate right here, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So it should look like this. And now you will be needing 4 long blue pins. And what you were going to do with those is insert them long ways into these holes right here so that they go through this piece and into these black plates. So now I'm going to do that. So it should look like that. So now you'll be needing 4 black friction pins and 2 of those size 3 beams with an axle piece on top. And what you were going to do is you were going to insert 2 of those black pins on the same side of one of these 3 beams with the axle piece in the 2 end holes, like this. And you will need to do that twice. So you should have 2 identical pieces that look like this, and you are going to insert these on either side in these 2 holes right here. So just like this, making sure that this axle piece is faced upwards. So it should look just like this. And now you can set this whole piece aside. And now you'll be needing one of these blue axle pieces, one of these size 5 axles, and one of these black beam pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to insert the axle into one of the axle holes on the blue piece, making sure that the axle is flush with the other side of the blue piece, just like that. And then you are going to take one of the end axle holes on this black piece and slide that until it's touching the blue piece. And that should look just like this. And now you will need another one of those blue pieces and one of those green spherical pieces. And what you are going to do is you're going to slide that blue piece over the axle again until it's touching the black piece, and so that all 3 of these pieces align with each other, and then you're going to cap this end off with the green spherical piece. So it should look just like this. And now you will need one of these black pieces with an axle hole and a beam hole and a size 4 red axle. And what you're going to do is you're going to insert that axle into the axle hole of this black piece until it's flush with the other side of the black piece, just like that. And then you are going to take it and you're going to slide the red axle through this axle hole right here, such that the black piece is faced upwards, and it should look something like that. And now you are going to take another one of these black pieces with a beam hole and axle hole, and you're going to cap off the other end of this red axle, like that, making sure that the 2 black pieces are in the same orientation faced upwards. And it should look something like this. And now you will be needing 1 small red axle, 2 of those tan pieces that are part axle and part pin, and 2 90-degree elbows. And what you are going to do is you're going to insert the red axle into one end of that elbow, and then you're going to insert what's left over of that red axle into the other elbow, but you want to make sure that both elbows are faced in the same direction. And then you are going to stick the axle part of the tan pin in the ends of these elbows. So it should look just like this. And then you're going to take that piece and you're going to insert it into these 2 black pieces right here. So it should look something like this. Just make sure that there is no part of the red axle in here sticking out on either end. Make sure it is completely through the part. And now you'll be needing one of these white axle pieces, and you are also going to grab this big piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and you're going to take this yellow axle and insert it into this hole right here. So just like this. And then you're going to take that white cap and you're going to stick it on the end of that yellow axle, and it should look like this. And now you can set this entire piece aside again. And now you'll be needing one of those red pieces with axle and beam holes, a size 5 axle, and one of those black beam pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to insert the gray axle into one end of the red piece, making sure that the other side is flush. And then you're going to take this black piece and put the end axle hole on that axle. So it should look something like this. And now you will need another one of those red pieces and one of those green spherical pieces, and what you are going to do is you are going to slide the red piece onto the axle, making sure that it aligns with the other two pieces, and then you are going to cap off the end of the axle with this green piece. So it should look something like this. And now you are going to take a size 4 red axle and one of these black pieces with a beam hole and an axle hole, and you are going to insert the axle into the axle hole of this piece, making sure that it is flush with the other side of the part. So it should look something like this. And then you are going to insert that red axle into this axle hole right here. Just make sure you insert it in the right orientation so that this black piece is faced upward, so it should look like this. And then you will need another one of these black pieces, and you're going to need to put it on the other side of this axle. Just make sure that it is in the same orientation as the other one and faced upwards. And it should look something like this. And now you'll be needing two of these tan pieces with part axle and part pin, one of those small red axles, and two 90-degree elbows. And what you were going to do is you were going to take that red axle and put it in one end of one of the elbows, and then you were going to take the other elbow and put it on that end of the axle. Just make sure that both of the ends of these elbows are pointed in the same direction, and then you are going to take the axle part of those tan pieces and you're going to put them in the other ends of these elbows. So it should look just like this. And then you were going to take that piece and you were going to stick it in these two black pieces right here. Just like that, and it should look just like this. Just make sure that the red axle going through here is inside the entire part and there is nothing sticking out of either end of these two black pieces. And now you'll be needing one of these white axle pieces. And now you are going to take this big piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and you're going to insert this yellow axle into this hole right here. So just like this. And then you are going to cap off this yellow axle with this white axle piece. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing two of these tan pieces with part axle and part pin, and what you are going to do is you are going to insert the axle part into the other sides of these white pieces. So right here, and right here. And it should look just like this. And now you are going to need two size 7 beams, and what you are going to do is you are going to attach them to these 3 pins on this side and these 3 pins on this side. So just like this. And it should look something like that. And now you'll be needing 3 size 9 axles and 3 of these white axle pieces, and what you are going to do is you are going to put those white axle pieces on the end of each of the axles. So you should have 3 pieces that look like this. And now you are going to take each of these and stick them in the axle piece right here, such that the white piece is on this side and the axle is pointing this way. So just like this. And it should look like that. So now you will need 2 black friction pins and one of these plates, and what you're going to do is you're going to insert those pins in the 2 end holes of this plate. And then you are going to take this completed part and you are going to attach it to the bottom of these 2 plates, so just like this. And just make sure that all 3 of these plates have the flat face up. And that's what this should look like, and this is now the completed boccia share. Alright, so here we have the boccia frame, the boccia aim, and the boccia share. And those are the 3 models contained in bag 5. Alright, so that's about it for this video. If you found it helpful, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or an idea for a future video, and lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel so I can grow and help more of you guys out. I'm just helping you out. See you in the next video.